Here we go, kicking off another big broadcast day here on Real America's Voice, MTN, and so much more. It's the Steve Gruber Show, live from Studio G. Here, the compound is fired up. We're ready to go. We've got a lot to talk about today. Yeah, kicking off the broadcast day. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Remember, this is a no-panic zone. A lot to talk about today. Here are three big things you need to know to start this hour. Number one, another elected Democrat gets arrested for interfering with ICE officers doing their jobs. This time, the candidate for mayor of New York City physically obstructing the officers from doing their jobs. Number two, the FBI has been exposed for allowing the Chinese to flood America with tens of thousands of fake driver's licenses to help people obtain illegal ballots and vote for Joe Biden illegally. All true. We'll have all the facts coming up on that big story, and it is a huge story. And then number three, all eyes remain on the war between Israel and Iran as the attacks continued overnight. President Trump is also pondering what role the United States is going to play in the ongoing fight. I'm going to get you up to date on everything that has been going on over the last 24 hours. Keep an eye on breaking news as well. First of all, a busy day again, to say the least. Tehran getting pounded. Here's a bit of a sample of what we saw from overnight. Here it is. So the question is, where are we this morning? And the answer is about where we were yesterday, 24 hours ago. No big move. The president called for a complete and total surrender of Iran. That, of course, has not happened. In fact, it looks like Iran might be preparing missiles for retaliatory strikes against U.S. bases in the Middle East. That would be a critical mistake. That would be a critical mistake for the nation of Iran, to say the least. But Donald Trump said this in a post to Truth Social yesterday, and I'm on Truth Social right now, nothing new yet today from the president. I'm just monitoring to make sure we're not missing anything. He's talking about some great poll numbers, and I'll get to that because they are pretty remarkable. We now have complete and total control. That's what he said in a post yesterday, just before noon. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran has good trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. He says stuff in quotations. Nobody does it better than the good old U.S. of A. Now, he's not saying that we are directly involved, but he is saying that American equipment is involved. Minutes after publishing that, Trump added to social media, unconditional surrender, all in capital letters. That happened about 12:30 Eastern time. And then at 12:45, pointed out to the Ayatollah, we know where he is. We know where he is. So what does this mean for the region? Well, the Saudi Crown Prince, MBS, says his country doesn't want nuclear weapons. They don't want them. But if Iran were to get them, they would quickly follow suit. Listen to this.
Iran is not a rival to Saudi Arabia. Its army is not among the top 5 armies in the Muslim world. The Saudi economy is larger than the Iranian economy. Iran is far from being equal to Saudi Arabia.
But I've seen that you called the Ayatollah Khamenei the new Hitler of the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because he wants to expand. He wants to create his own project in the Middle East, very much like Hitler, who wanted to expand at the time. Many countries around the world and in Europe did not realize how dangerous Hitler was until what happened. I don't want to see the same events happening in the Middle East.
Does Saudi Arabia need nuclear weapons to counter Iran?
Saudi Arabia does not want to acquire any nuclear bomb. But without a doubt, if Iran developed a nuclear bomb, we will follow suit as soon as possible.
There you have it. The whole Middle East would turn nuclear if Iran gets their weapons. So, focused on the Iran nuclear facilities. That focus remains intense today. Donald Trump, of course, in the Situation Room yesterday, sorting out his options, was there more than an hour. No decisions made. Obviously, nothing that happened quickly, anyway. Nothing to indicate that any change in position had taken place before or after the meeting. And he convened that conversation to decide what to do next. How do we proceed? One of the most telling bits of video yesterday, and I don't have it here, but I should have brought it for you, was the newsroom in Tehran getting bombed while they were on the air. Probably seen it by now. Remarkable footage. Yeah. Meanwhile, Steve Bannon on the side of no more wars. And I think that he has that opportunity. Listen to this.
Kind of, Kayleigh, no offense, and I realize you went to Harvard, so we won't hold it against you. Kayleigh, is, a lot of people know, is a graduate of Harvard Law School. It's just not, let's go bomb some stuff because we want action. You have to think it through, and you have to think it downrange. The last thing this country wants, the last thing President Trump wants, is to be dealing with a massive humanitarian crisis on another failed Middle East regime, like in Syria. This one will be, this is 10x what Syria is. That collapses, and all of a sudden they're calling for the United States, humanitarian. Look what's happening in Gaza, and they're calling the United States to do something. That is 1/100th of what Persia will be, right? What will Persia will be. And so we have to be very, 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 you have to really think this thing through. And that's what President Trump is spending so much time on it. That's why he's going to the National Security Council. That's why he flew back. President Trump is not, he ain't going to jump into this. He's going to think it through. And even when he takes an action, he's going to want optionality off that action, other options. That's the way he negotiates. That's the way he rolls. Today,
transactional. Looking for a transactional outcome. He wants to know that if he gets involved, what the outcome's going to be. What does it mean for the United States going forward? What does it mean? Well, one more thing, by the way, and this just makes you go, really? Remember Republican Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma? Wanted to pass that garbage open border bill and tell us how great it was. We'd only let 5,000 people in a day. By the way, I've got some new numbers on that. They are remarkable. Greatest single month ever for secure border, ever. Well, he wanted to pass that garbage open border bill to James Lankford. Now he wants to pummel Tehran into submission. These guys all want war. Listen.
So speaking of the Supreme Leader, the president posted on his Truth Social platform that America knows where he is, that we could, it implied, assassinate him, but we will not for the moment. Do you think the United States should assassinate the Supreme Leader if they can?
The assassination of any individual and any foreign dignitary or leader on this, but we most certainly need to have regime change in Iran. This is the same regime that's threatened America and Americans. This is the same regime that oppresses their own people, that they use the money that they get from oil money to be able to put towards terrorism, to be able to kill us and our allies. They chant death to America in the streets. We definitely need a new regime there.
Well, there might be truth to that, but the problem is coming from him, nobody trusts it. I've got a lot more to cover here after the break. All right, back to it now. Just trying to keep you up to date with the most critical information. Some believe that Iran is preparing, right now as we speak, an assault on American bases in the Middle East if America gets more involved in this war between Israel and Iran. The key target here in all of this is a place called Fordo. 2,500 acres, a huge complex where they enrich uranium, much of which is half a mile underground in a mountainside. So we don't know what Iran has exactly because Fordo is hidden. And America has one of the only things that can destroy such a facility, the bunker buster bomb, the Moab, the mother of all bombs. More than 15 tons, 35,000 pounds of pure pleasure. And Israel can't deliver that weapon. America can with B-2 stealth bombers or even B-52s. Keep you up to speed on that. The United States has bases in the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, also in Bahrain, Qatar. And all of those bases are well within easy reach of Iranian missiles. But to go there would be absolute suicide. The United States has 40,000 troops in the Middle East. I don't think anybody wants a war, but on the same token, I don't think that anybody is going to roll over and say, we're okay with any of this, because we're not. And as Donald Trump has said repeatedly, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. All right, so back to some other news here. This isn't just, it all kind of wraps together. You've got Donald Trump in a situation where some of his supporters are questioning America's involvement in this war, but it certainly has not hurt him in the polling numbers. That's why I asked yesterday on this program and asked you to go to my X account, my Twitter page, and say, hey, how do you weigh in on this? And about 15% of the people said they would not support the president if he went to war with Iran. Now, I don't know if it's Republicans or Democrats or MAGA people weighing in. It's a social media question. But here's what I do know. Insider Advantage just did a poll. National survey, Donald Trump's job performance, approved 54%, disapproved 44%. That runs in line with what I've been hearing from Rasmussen and Mark Mitchell, our good friend. Last time I looked at it was 52-46 there. So 54-44 seems to make a lot of sense. But there's the polling number. Insider Advantage National Job Survey, done over the 15th and 16th of June. Margin of error just over 3 points. Pretty good poll for the president again. Oh, and 90% of Republicans support what he's doing. 90%. Meanwhile, you've got people like Pew Research putting out polls that say the disapproval of Donald Trump is 58%. That's a complete garbage poll. I will tell you right now. Here's the Rasmussen number, 52-47 yesterday, so I was pretty close. I thought it was 46, but 52-47 plus 5. Insider Advantage has it double of that. And I can assure you right now, look, at this point, even on the, look, listen to this, even on the Real Clear Politics average, Donald Trump is more popular today than was Barack Obama at the same point in his second term. Donald Trump is more popular than George W. Bush at the same time in his second term. Donald Trump's numbers at 46.5 on the average, which I'm going to tell you again, the average is being pulled down by garbage polls from Reuters and Economist, YouGov, and others. They're garbage polls. And I know that because I watched the polls all the way to Election Day, November 5, 2024, and there's no question that a couple of companies stood out. Insider Advantage was one of them. Rasmussen was another. Trafalgar was another. I think Rasmussen had it, just so perfect all the way out. And he has Donald Trump plus 5, Insider Advantage plus 10. Kind of hard to argue with. It really is kind of hard to argue with. So let's see here. So that's a big number. Great poll numbers for Donald Trump. And why? Because he's doing what he said he was going to do. Here is one of the most remarkable things I have heard. Border agents didn't release a single illegal into the United States last month. Not one. Not a single one. Can you imagine? Let's see. Agents only caught 8,725 illegals trying to come into the country at all. Compare that with May of 2024. 117,905 were stopped, down to 8,700. Oh, and by the way, they were releasing thousands into the country every month as a result, too. Just let thousands in. Border numbers continue to trend at historic lows, reinforced, and the sustained success of our enforcement efforts continue to secure the homeland and protect American communities. Yeah, that comes from Paul Perez, National Border Patrol Council President. Man, is he right? What a remarkable turnaround. Congratulations to Donald Trump and his administration for getting that dialed right in just like he said he would. Are you frustrated by the gridlock in Washington? Do you wonder why Congress can't get much done? Well, there's a way to understand how we got here, what can be done about it at this point. My friends at Hillsdale College, they put together this free online course, Congress, How It Worked, Why It Doesn't, taught by Hillsdale's own Dr. Kevin Porteous. The course reveals the original purpose of Congress, how the founders designed it to work, and why today's dysfunction, it's no accident. You'll explore key moments in American history, the role of partisanship, how changes in rules, incentives, and culture have reshaped our legislature for better and for worse. And the best part, it's all free. My friends at Hillsdale do this every day. More than 40 courses now, free online. Great stuff about the Constitution, the founding of the country, Christianity, all of it. Gruber for Hillsdale.com. Find out more right now. Gruber for Hillsdale.com. You're going to love this. Take my word for it.